Hello everybody, I am Clint Reen from Bluffside Birdie, and today we'll be reviewing the classic disc golf course at Justin Trails Resort in Sparta, Wisconsin. There are two courses on this 200-acre property, Classic and Big Brother. Justin Trails Resort is also a bed and breakfast with cabins and camping available, and they also host many weddings in their renovated barn. So come explore this great property during winter or summer. Trail passes can be purchased at the lodge along with a selection of discs and snacks. Alright, let's jump into the course preview. Hole 1 is a par 3, 304 feet, although it plays uphill so feels a little bit longer than that. The challenge with this hole has to do with landing close to the basket because the green slopes down pretty significantly to the left and behind the basket, so rollaways can be pretty common here. Hole 2 is a par 3, 248 feet, again playing slightly uphill so feels a little bit longer than that. The green slopes down to the left, which can leave you with about a 50-foot putt uphill if you're down on the flat area off to the left. Hole 3, 270 feet, par 3. This hole plays downhill, and there are two main gaps. A common play for a right-handed backhand player is a hyzer shot with a mid-range, as you don't want to overthrow the basket and end up down the hill. As you can see, the basket's on a mound, so getting your drive close is key here. Hole 4, par 3, 399 feet. This is the longest hole on the classic course, and the common mistake here is turning a disc over on the right side and landing down that hill. An errant drive can make it difficult to save par, so playing it safe up the middle is a pretty good option on this hole if you don't have the distance to get all the way there. Hole 5 is a 324-foot par 3. There are two main options off the tee, the straight shot through the gap, and then a high hyzer over the trees on the right side. The hyzer play can crash in behind the big tree near the basket, so this is a good play if there isn't much wind. And again, we got a sloping green from left to right, so sticking it on the hill is sometimes pretty tricky. Hole 6, 298 feet, par 3. This hole is pretty much a wide open hyzer shot for a right-handed backhand player. The main thing that you want to avoid is going too far to the left into those bushes. It's pretty thick over there, so it can be hard to get a clean putt if you do end up in those bushes. Hole 7, 298 feet, par 3. The next few holes play through a hiking trail, so the fairways are pretty narrow. There's a Mando left right away off the tee, forcing you to throw down the tunnel. And then when you get closer to the basket, there's a little ditch here that's a pretty common landing zone, and it leaves you with about a 45-foot putt uphill. Hole 8 is a 300-foot par 3 that's pretty similar to the last hole, but this one is slightly downhill. This creates a low ceiling tunnel shot, the basket being slightly on the right, but a straight shot will work just fine and give you a putt. Whatever disc worked on the last hole will likely work well here also. Hole 9, par 3, 309 feet, but significantly uphill, so feels closer to 375 feet. Again, there's a tight gap off the tee with a low ceiling, so this is actually one of the hardest holes on the classic course. Then when you get up around the basket, there's a pretty steep drop off on the right side, so placement is really important here. Hole 10, par 3, 295 feet. This is another tough hole to get close to the basket. There is a Mando early forcing players to the left, and the two main plays are right hand backhand flex shot up the right side, or you can take this left gap that the drone is taking and try to miss some trees to get a putt. Another unique thing is this basket is just inches off the ground, so it makes the putting a little bit difficult. Hole 11, 234 feet, par 3. This is one of the signature holes on the classic course, throwing over the pond. The shot is pretty straightforward, usually a straight putter or mid-range, trying to run the basket. You just got to remember to not come up short or hit the tree on the right side, because it can kick back into the pond. Hole 12, par 3, 253 feet. Another pretty straightforward shot off the tee. The main things to avoid are turning the disc over into the pond or throwing too far on the right side, as this basket does have a pretty steep drop off behind it. Hole 13, par 3, 268 feet, but it feels a little bit longer than that. It is a low ceiling tunnel shot the whole way to the basket with a steep slope on the right side. If you happen to hit a tree and go on the right side, it can be difficult to save par, so keeping it straight or even a little bit left on that side hill will be preferred shot. And then running your putt from the left side can be a real challenge, as you don't want to airball and go sailing off the hill on the right. Hole 14, par 3, 327 feet. This hole is downhill with a low ceiling towards the end of the gap. The main goal is getting out of the gap because it becomes wide open after that. Otherwise, it can get difficult to get up and down for par if you hit a tree and are stuck on the hillside. Hole 15, par 3, 234 feet. This hole is very uphill with trees along the right side. The main shots are trying to go left of all the trees, otherwise over the right side, as the drone is doing right here. The slope is very steep from left to right, which makes it tough to stick a disc close to the basket. Hole 16, par 3, 354 feet. This shot is slightly uphill, so it requires some good power to get all the way there. The slope from left to right can make landing close to the basket difficult, and you are usually left with an uphill putt at the basket. Hole 17, par 3, 191 feet. This is a tricky tee shot to execute correctly, as the ground goes up right away off the tee, but then goes down with a low ceiling. And if you do make it through the trees, there's a steep drop off behind and to the right of the basket. Hole 18, par 3, 192 feet, the last hole of the classic course. Similar to hole 17, the ground goes up to start and then steeply downhill afterwards, and you have to be very lucky to land softly on this hillside. Usually a good drive will still end up rolling to the bottom of the hill, giving you about a 40-foot putt uphill. Thank you for watching this course review of the Justin Trails Classic Course in Sparta, Wisconsin. Please like and subscribe, and comment below what course you would like to see us review next.